This video is going to give you an overview of what the administration functions are with Vegress SIP Record 2.0. First thing you want to do is point your browser to Vegress on the network. Type in your extension and password. Vegress will know if you're a user or an administrator based off of who you are. So once you log in, you'll obviously Vegress is going to take you to your record screen. Now, again, as a reminder, only users can see the recordings, the user options, and logout. Administrators can then see the users, tags, groups, blacklist, system, and the diagnostic screens. So users will log in, won't see these. You as administrator will be able to. So the first thing let's go do is let's look at adding a user. These are users on the system right now. And just to get familiar with the real estate, we're looking for a name, an extension, an email address, password, and then some parameters on how we're going to handle the recordings. Now, this is a Vegress name. You probably are going to want to use the same name as your SIP extension as well. Doesn't have to, but for some similarity, it makes the most sense. So, for instance, Ben Conley on the Vegress unit is also Ben Conley on the SIP PBX. So if we add it, you can see it pulls up a white box. We just put in the name, extension number, email, password, and if they have admin privileges to see these screens, you check that as well. And that's how you add users to the system. Now, let's look at diagnostics, because as you can see, we've got a number of users on the system. If you look at diagnostics now, you can see of those users who is registered at this time. And we're also going to lay out a group of phones that are extensions that are not registered. So Vegress is saying, hey, administrator, you created a user to be recorded on my system, but they're not registered with me. So this is just kind of a nice little way of showing you who is and who isn't able to be recorded at the time, because the phone is not pointed to Vegress. Tags is a new feature with our Vegress Record. We're able to now tag a call in real time or later on once the call's already been recorded. So at this point, the administrator needs to create the tags on the system. On the user's taskbar, you'll be able to launch a little application and choose which tag, how you want to tag this call, and this is where you get that information. So we want to add a quick tag. We might want to call it need to follow up. Add. Tag was added, and now that's going to show up in the VDM, or the Vegress Desktop Manager, when a user uses it. So they'll be able to tag this call with need to follow up. So then when you come back to your recording, you can sort all of your calls that have need to follow up that's been associated with them. We can also add notes to the calls as well. Groups. When you have a user on Vegress, you might have a supervisor that wants to listen to multiple users. So we assign groups that allow this to happen. For instance, a supervisor would want to listen to Jim, Tammy, and Sally. Well, Jim, Tammy, and Sally, when they log in, they're only going to hear their recordings, but the supervisor can hear the supervisor's recordings and Jim, Tammy, and Sally's. And that's where this happens. Now, blacklist is kind of important, because let's say that you've got let's say your executives or you're going to be calling a number a lot that you don't want to have recorded from any way, shape, or form. This is where we would blacklist this. So let's say my home number was 888-5641, and I could name that as my home. So now Vegress, anytime that it sees this pattern of numbers, it just won't record it, even though it might be licensed to and expected to. Because it's on the blacklist, it won't. The system is where you're probably going to want to go when you first set up your Vegress unit. And let's start here first. The local settings. We're just looking for the IP address of the box that it's going to live on your network. You can gracefully shut down and restart the system. what's the IP address of your primary IP server. Most IP PBXs have a primary and a secondary, and we will allow that to work as well. And Vegress also allows you to back up every single recording to another offsite server, and in this case, we've got an FTP server logged in, and we can test it at that to make sure that the credentials work as well. So what this allows us to do is every single recording is not only recorded here on Vegress, but we're going to offload it to another site's server for later archiving. But anyway, that's an overall overview of what the Vegress 2.0 looks like. Thanks so much.